Dear Saints, we would like to give you an update of the situation in Kyiv and in Ukraine in general among the saints and the churches. From the beginning of this year, Ukraine has experienced much turmoil. Beginning in November of 2013, Kyiv experienced large demonstrations, which turned into massive riots, which ended in the change of the administration of the country. Following the riots, a military conflict began, which continues to this day, particularly in the eastern Ukraine, around the cities of Donetsk and Lugansk. The areas of the country that are affected where the saints are located are eastern Ukraine and Crimea. However, we would like to report that none of the saints have suffered physical harm, and the Lord has graciously guarded us all. There were 60 churches in Ukraine prior to the fighting. There are 8 churches in Crimea with about 200 saints. And there are 5 churches in eastern Ukraine that have been affected by the fighting. They are Donetsk, Lugansk, Gorlovka, Kramatorsk, and Mariupol. Today, 39 saints have been displaced from their homes because of the fighting. These saints have been received into the homes of the saints in the other churches. This has provided for a wonderful time of fellowship and blending with the saints. The saints who have been displaced have received much comfort and encouragement by the care and shepherding of the body of Christ. Kyiv has been quiet and peaceful since the demonstrations ended in March. A good number of brothers have come to work on the meeting hall. We are daily enjoying the Lord's grace, learning to drop our opinions, deny the self, and exercise the Spirit to be built up together in the body. We have been able to make much progress on the meeting hall. We have installed all the windows, and we have finished the facade. We are currently installing the sewer line, and we are continuing the interior finish work. We already have heating on the first floor, which will allow us to keep working during the cold winter months. We currently have the immediate need to purchase the heating and ventilating equipment, which is quite expensive. The cost for this equipment is approximately $150,000. Our original budget for the building was $1.8 million. Thus far, the saints have offered $1,409,713. We still need approximately $400,000 to complete the hall. If you feel to participate financially, offerings can be made on the LME website at www.lordsmove.org/offerings.html. We would ask the saints to continue to pray for the Lord's move in the Russian-speaking world, that the heavens would rule, that the Lord would be glorified, that Satan would be put to shame, and that even in this present divisive political situation, the new man would be brought forth, and the body would be built up. For the Lord's continued blessing on all the churches and all the saints in the Russian-speaking world, for the Lord's interest and testimony. For all the saints who have been affected by the fighting, that their hearts would be comforted, and that they would continue to experience the Lord as their all-sufficient supply in the body. For the brothers working on the hall, to be continually supplied and preserved in one accord for the Lord's blessing. For our continued good relationship with all of our contractors, and for the Lord's covering and blessing on all of our relationships with our neighbors, especially those who live in close proximity to the hall. for the completion of the hall and the timely receiving of all the occupancy documents. That every aspect of the construction and use of this hall would be used by the Lord for the building up of His body in the Russian-speaking world.